All right.
So, hello everyone. We are here in another episode of Vibe Thursdays with your special returning guest, first returning guest, Kevin Jones, a favorite. And we have just started the season 6 of Artizen. If you did not submit your project there, that's the perfect time. Season 5 is going through curation. We have the project selling their NFTs, the first project selling artifacts here. It's almost it is up to receive more than $2,000 already. That could be you. One of those submitted project can be your project. You just need to make sure that you get enough votes for you to get curated. So if you did not submit your project yet, go for Artisan. I'm going to send a link here in the chat. You submit your project here. You should have something about art or technology or science, anything related. You need to be vibe coded. We do check those requirements here for eligibility in the bottom. Once you are in, you can start getting votes. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask the people from community, attend to the live streams and get those votes. If you get curated, you are going to start receiving grant matched grant funds from the artisan pool for whatever artifacts that you sell. So let's say you make $100, you receive 200, 300, maybe more by the grant funds here from Artisan. So if you haven't yet, let me drop the link here in the chat and ready as you go. And if you don't know how to vibe code, if you never heard about Web3 and NFTs and all about that, I got you covered. I have here our favorite guest speaker, Kevin Jones. Please introduce yourself, my brother, and let's start listening about what is token API, what are those tokens, how to plug my MCP servers to it, and how to start vibe coding with it.
For sure. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Mateus. As always, great to see you. Thanks everybody for tuning in. My name is Kevin Jones. I am a developer relations engineer working for The Graph, and I'm also a developer advocate, or I guess I basically help out with the Build Guild. So I support Scaffold-ETH, and I teach people how to build on Ethereum. Do a lot of stuff, but I'm very excited today to do some vibe coding today and talk about the token API, which is something that the Graph offers to be able to get interesting metrics about token API. We'll actually take a look at it, and then we'll try to like build something using a like starter kit, and then we'll try to fork it. I kind of have something cool in mind that I want to try to build. So let me just go ahead and share my screen real quick, and we'll do the entire screen. And let's go to thegraph.com. So if you go to thegraph.com, by the way, can you see my screen okay?
Yeah. So loading. Maybe zooming a little more.
Oh, like make it a little bigger like this?
Yeah, it's perfectly.
Yeah. So if you go to thegraph.com/docs, you'll basically get to this landing page that kind of covers like all the different products that we have. One of the most, the newest products we've launched is the token API. So you can come over here on the left and bring that down. And there's an entire quick start that walks you through on like kind of how to get started. The token API has like a bunch of different endpoints for Ethereum, and also now I think Solana. I think they just added those. And it basically allows you to get information that maybe you wouldn't normally be able to get from like a typical subgraph. There's also an MCP server that you can access the data as well. So if you want to use this inside of like Claude, or if you want to use it inside of some kind of IDE like Klein, or also just inside of Cursor, you can set that up pretty easily by just adding in an additional MCP server. And that will allow you to use your AI tools to maybe get information about tokens and stuff like that inside of there. But if we come down here, I guess the meat and potatoes of everything is actually in this like EVM endpoints area. So inside here, you'll notice there's a lot of different endpoints. There's one for balances. There's one for transfers, balances, historical balances. So if you want to get like, over a certain amount of time, holders of a certain token, token metadata. So like the symbol, the name, supply, stuff like that. The open, high, low, and close by contract, and volume by contract and by pool using Uniswap. And then also liquidity pools on Uniswap and swap events as well. So any kind of swaps that happen on Uniswap v2 and v3. And then there's a whole bunch of different sections for NFTs as well. So these are all different endpoints that you can like call pretty easily to get, you know, whatever information you need. So really useful, especially if you're like used to building on subgraphs where it's really hard to like get information for like a specific address because, you know, you have to like have this really massive subgraph that keeps track of all the addresses and it can get kind of large. And so the token API is just a good way to get information that you normally couldn't get from a subgraph. I want to actually today, I'm going to use a special graph protocol examples repo, which if you go to GitHub and you go to the graph protocol GitHub, you can go to repositories and then you can search for examples. So we're kind of like, we've recently switched all of our use cases and examples into this one repository so that it's really easy for anyone who wants to like build on the graph to have like a starting point to do something. This is also really super important for vibe coding because like starter kits are just like really good for vibe coding. Usually like they're kind of like have hooks to find. There's usually like existing components, things like Scaffold-ETH, right, which has hooks and components for like executing smart contracts or functions against smart contracts, or displaying things like balances and, you know, getting information from the contract. And then on top of that, we've kind of come in here, built some examples either on Next.js or on Scaffold-ETH, which is also running on Next.js. There might be some examples in like Vite or some other things, but you can kind of expect that anything you want to build on the graph, you eventually will be able to come here and get like a full example. So there's a whole section just on the token API with 4 different examples. So like, let's say you want to do tax related stuff. There's a token API tax demo. If you want to do NFT components, you want to understand how the NFT API works, you can use that. Then there's just a quick start, which is like a very basic implementation, which is just like has the token API ready to go inside of a route, like an API route. And then there's the token API Scaffold-ETH, which is a build on Scaffold-ETH that has all of the hooks and components written for you to access data. So there's lots of examples you can start with. I want to use a different one, which is another one that I built, which is in this agent folder. So there's also an agent folder, and this agent has a folder called the graph agent Scaffold-ETH, which is also Scaffold-ETH, but it has ability to look up information from the token API. It has ability to get information from the subgraph MCP server, and it also has ability to get information from standard subgraphs as well, just using like GraphQL. So this is cool because it's a full-blown AI agent that's written in Next.js. We're using Vercel AI SDK. We're using sign in with Ethereum and like an authentication route. And so it's a good starting point, especially for like a hackathon, like a vibe code, to be able to build an AI agent that does something cool. So my thought today was I'll get this spun up. We'll show you how it works real quick. And then we'll try to modify it really quickly to do something that I've been planning to do anyways. So maybe I like can hit 2 birds with 1 stone, is to make this AI agent also be able to query and use X402, which is a really cool implementation of an old payments protocol on HTTP by Base, which allows you to pay for requests from an agent in some kind of native token. So we'll try to do it with USDC and see if we can do it. And so let's see if we can do that. So I've already gone and checked this out. The README is really good for this project. It's all generated with AI. So if you find anything broken, please do a pull request. But for the most part, it has all of the core concepts. It's built on Scaffold-ETH. It's using obviously Node.js because it's Next.js. It's using the app router. It's using Yarn Package Manager. And it gives you all that functionality that I talked about, being able to query an MCP server for the subgraph MCP or query the token API using hooks. It's a fork of a cool extension built by Adam Fuller, who he used to be a product manager for the graph. So it's really, really good use case. And to get up and running, it's pretty easy. All you need to do is clone this repository, go into the project's folder, and install the packages. Okay, so once you do that, it will install the dependencies for you. And then you need a few environment variables. You need, well, four to be exact. You need a API key, which is for querying against like a subgraph. You also need, it's not in here, I need to add it, but you need like a token API key as well, which is called it's a JOT actually. You need that. And you need an open API key so that you can use the AI, right? We use Vercel AI SDK, we use OpenAI. So you need this open API key. You need a random secret for doing next authentication so that you can like authenticate to use the API on your agent. This you could obviously like change to however you would want to do authentication, but it's just an example implementation to do sign in with Ethereum. You can generate your own random one.
Kevin,
Yeah.
I guess you stopped sharing your screen.
Oh, I didn't? Really? I wonder if my thing ran out of memory or something. One second, hold on. Let me try to share again. Where was I when it stopped?
A second ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Is it back?
Yes, yes. Some people are saying like, if you are not seeing the screen, try to get out and in again. Not for you. Let me. It's pinned for everyone. Go on, Kevin. Sorry.
Can you see it okay?
I can.
Okay. And then the very last one is your agent needs a private key because your agent's going to need to pay for stuff if he wants to do anything on chain. So you can imagine you have a private key when you're using the application, which is like your private key, but then you have a private key for the agent so that he can like, maybe we're going to try to use X402 maybe. So he's going to need a private key because he's going to be able to send ETH or have a balance and stuff like that. So we can figure out as we go. Let's just try to vibe it. So to get up and running, all you need to do is run yarn chain. Set these environment variables, run yarn chain, that will spin up your blockchain, which is hard hat. Run yarn deploy, which is going to spin up which is going to deploy your smart contract, sorry. And then your start is going to start your front end. Okay, and then you'll be ready to go. Okay, and then you can ask a question, like, hey, tell me, subgraphs on Uniswap for Uniswap v3, or give me the balance for Vitalik.eth. Let's see if we can do it. I don't know if it's going to work. But yeah, let's run it. Let's get it going. So let me bring this up real quick. So first we're going to do yarn chain in this first window. So you need to have a few terminals open because you're spinning up a chain, you're spinning up your front end, and then you're deploying your contract. And so you need all three of those to run, right? So in the second window, you'll open up another window, right? And, oh, I don't know why this is not working. Terminal, 1 second. There we go.
If anyone wants to catch up to this information, there is a recording for that in the folder where Kevin went through all of the setup of Scaffold-ETH and all. If you don't know how to set up that in your machine, I know that it looks very cool. If you want to get that running in your machine, we have the recordings in the past. Okay.
Yeah, if I'm going too fast, that's okay. You'll need to tinker around with it, get it up and running. But yeah, hopefully you can do that. So chain is up. I can see my accounts. You get these like fake private keys. The second window, we're going to do yarn start. So that's going to spin up React with Next.js. And then we're going to go into the same folder. So it's agent, the graph, Scaffold-ETH. So now I have my front end running. So my chain's up, my front end is up. Now I'm going to deploy a contract. Okay, so Scaffold-ETH comes with like a very basic contract. We're not really going to use that contract, but I just want to show you how to deploy it. So in case you did want to write a smart contract, you could. We're going to do everything with APIs, but it's just good to know exactly how it works. For some reason, my machine is running super slow right now. Let me try closing some stuff. Okay. All right.
Stop your Bitcoin mining, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but it's all right. Okay, so here we go. So it deployed successfully. That's fine. We're not going to use the contract anyways, but I wanted to show you. Let's load it up in Cursor. So first of all, let me close here. So the project basically is, like I said before, it's a mono repo. Okay, so it means it has 2 or more packages. So in this case, there's a hard hat and there's a Next.js. Oh my gosh, why is my computer acting up? Let me relaunch it again real quick. Let me go back here and open it here real quick. Okay, there we go. So agent, the graph agent, and then again in the packages folder here, let me make this a little bigger for you guys so you can see it. Let me close this. So there's a hard hat folder, and then there's a Next.js folder. So that's the chain, that's the front end. Okay, so this contract that I talked about is in here, but we're not going to use it. But just so you know, you can edit that in your contracts folder. And then the Next.js folder is where our AI agent is actually at. So our AI agent is actually up, but I want to walk you through the files real quick. So the first of all, there's an env example file of what you need to set. So as I mentioned before, is you need to put in your open API key, your next auth secret, your agent private key, your graph API key, and then for the token API, this is the token API JOT. So it's a JOT, and you get this from, I think it's the graph.market, I believe is the URL. If you just do a Google search for it, you'll find it, and you can sign up. So you need an API key if you want to query subgraphs. You need a JOT token if you want to query the API token API. So you need 2 different mechanisms. So it's important to understand that this you can just generate randomly, or you can use like a wallet, like a developer wallet that maybe you have that you can fund, and or you can just randomly create a string there. I've already set mine. I'm not going to show you because it's private, but let's go ahead and let's go into the app folder real quick. So we're doing vibe coding here, so we don't care too much about the code, but it's important for you to understand the high level of how this app works if you want to start troubleshooting it. The first thing that you need to know is there's a chat folder and there's like a chat interface. So this is where the actual chat is, but it's the chat interface. So it's just like what you see when you go to /chat. It's like a chat box. Really, all the magic is in the API routes here. So there's a authentication route, which we do auth, which is very basic, but it does next auth. And then there's the chat route, which is here. Now this is basically, if you've ever deployed an AI agent with like AgentKit, it's the high-level config of like how your agent should act, like what endpoints does he have available to query, how does he get his private key or his public key, what is his address, stuff like that. And it has all the instructions in here on how to query the MCP server, how to query the token API. So it's got a full-blown example of those 3 things that I talked about earlier, which is the graph subgraphs, the token API, and the subgraph MCP server. So you can kind of like pick and choose what you want to do with it using those different endpoints. So you can see there's a lot in here, but it's all defined already for you. Then down below real quick, before we test it out and see if it works, we'll go to the, the utilities folder, and then we'll go to chat. And then we go to AgentKit, and we go to action provider. And we'll see that there's 4 action providers. So with AgentKit, the way it works is if you want to use an AI agent, you want to call some kind of other tool. Keep me honest here on my terminology, but basically you have to call an action provider, which is basically like defining exactly how you want the agent to go and get the information that the user is asking for. And so here we have 4 different action providers. We have one for the token API, which allows you to get data about tokens. We have one for just querying a normal subgraph, which is using GraphQL, right? And then we have one for querying the subgraph MCP server. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to query and get token information or balance information, you probably want to get that from this provider. If you want to query like Uniswap or Aave v3 and get a very precise query executed over GraphQL, then you can use this. If you want to just query and get like general information from subgraphs over the MCP server, then you can use this one. So you'll notice all of them use Zod, which is this cool way of doing like data in and data out and handling like responses. And so, yeah, they're already written for you. And then there's the contract interactor, which is like if you want to like send ETH from your agent, or if you want to like be able to receive ETH or interact with your private key, then this contract interactor or interact with a contract is where you would interact with the contract using cryptography, using your agent's private key. And so there's an example for all that stuff. So what I would like to do is try to like hack this. First, let's just show you how it works. So it's up and running. The front end's running. We can just go to port 3000 and see it. So let's go here. Can you still see my screen, by the way? Everything good?
Yeah, we're seeing the browser now.
Okay, cool. And you were able to see my VS Code earlier, yeah, or my yeah. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Okay, so it's a little slow to start, probably because my machine is like chugging along. I don't know why. I don't know why. I should have rebooted my computer before we did this. Okay, come on. Let me shut down Docker, see if that helps. I'm not going to use Docker. And quit this too. Let's try it again. Compiled in 44 seconds. That's not good. Okay, is it loading? Okay, there we go. So it says we're on the wrong network. Let's just disconnect and then we'll get connected. So Scaffold-ETH is, again, it's Next.js. So it gives us this cool like burner wallet so we can start messing around with like Ethereum really quickly. We're probably not going to use it, but it's cool to know that it's there. You could disconnect and connect with like your own wallet if you wanted to, but it's basically a Web3 application. But here's what I want to focus on is the chat. So this chat is basically where we have all of that integration, right, where you can like chat with it. So let's try to do that. Oh my gosh, so slow. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's try to ask the agent something. Let's say, well, first of all, let's just, we'll go, well, let's really test it. Let's say, what are the most recent tokens sent to Vitalik.eth on Base, something like that. So this is going to be using, so this is Vercel AI SDK. It's using OpenAI. It's using natural language to basically figure out exactly what it needs to do. It's a little slow in general. I think it probably could be optimized, but it's really just like a starting point to where you would like kind of modify it how you would want to build your agent. And we'll give it a second, but right now it's just basically trying to decide where it needs to go to get the information. So it's calling probably agent kit, and it's deciding which action provider to use. Let me try closing some of this stuff, see if that helps.
Just to give some context, whenever you need to do that yourself and do all the action providers yourself, and all, you take hours, if not a couple of days doing that. When you get this repository with already everything baked in, and the actions inside the agent kit, the MCP servers, the token API, the front-end integration, the Vercel, the Next.js, you can literally start that in half an hour. If you're competing in a hackathon or starting a prototype and all, this is going to solve a lot of problems for you that you don't even know that you have yet.
Yeah. Okay, I think I got like an API key probably issue. Let's try to like see if I have enough credits actually. Let's go to OpenAPI AI key. Let's see if I have enough credits. I feel like maybe I ran out of credits.
Gotta call Sama.
Where do I go to get my, oh, here, API keys. Where's credits at? Your profile? Billing.
I guess you go for billing, something like that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. Oh,
let's add $10. AI is expensive, you know?
The other person is pro on vibe coding when they run out of credits. That's the biggest no.
Okay, let's hope that goes through. Okay, payment successful. Okay, let's try it again. Let's just be a little easier on it. Let's say, what is Vitalik.eth? What is the address? I just want to grab his address real quick. Okay, let's try that. What are the most recent tokens sent to this address on base mainnet? Let's try it again. Really slow today. But I want to show something really quick, I guess, while we're waiting. We'll come back to that. So one thing that's really cool is this example is using implementation of a bunch of different hooks that make it really easy to query the token API that I built. And so if you go to the app and you go to chat, you will find what those look like. So you go to _hooks, and you'll see that there are hooks for every single endpoint of the token API. So if you want to get token balances, you can check out what the hook requires by coming in here and see what the types look like. So it takes an address, takes parameters and some options, and then it returns the balance, right? And you can kind of get a feel for what that is. And these are all TypeScript. And so there's a separate hook for essentially every endpoint in the token API. And there's a separate implementation of that for the agent as well, so that it can get the information that it needs. Oh, I don't know why this is not working. Oh, you know what I think it is? If you have this issue, disconnect and reconnect. It's because I'm using sign in with Ethereum. So let's connect back with Burner Wallet and sign a message. Let's try it again. Let me grab the query again. So because we have to, in order to send the request, if you're getting a 400 error, it means that you're not authenticated. And so in order to get authenticated inside of the browser session, you disconnect your wallet and then reconnect. And when you reconnect, it will ask you to sign a message. I need to fix that. I need to make a button here that just lets you sign in. There it goes. Now it worked. So now the AI is typing, and we can see what the tool calls did. So we can see here that it called base, it grabbed the address, it did a limit of 5, and it used the role of receiver to get the balances, but it had an error. For some reason it didn't go through. So something about the start time and end time filters. So let's try to vibe code and fix this actually. So let's grab this and let's come over here. I guess I'm not going to be able to do my 402 thing. I don't think I'm have time. Let's try to fix this. So my agent is not working. Token API.
Follow the vibes, bro. Don't worry about content. Follow the vibes, and vibes will guide us.
Yeah. Let's let the vibes guide us. So let's see what's wrong. Something's wrong. It's probably because I didn't run through this demo ahead of time, and I probably should have, but I'm in the process of moving, so I spent half the day moving boxes, so apologies. But let's vibe it. Let's figure it out. Okay, so it's going to go through and figure it out. But my guess is that maybe there's some kind of issue with the token API where it needs these filters. And so hopefully it's just going to be like, oh, okay, I know exactly what you need to do and fix it. You could also, what I also do sometimes is I'll just point it at the docs. So I'll go to the graph.com/docs. I'll go to the token API. I'll go to the EVM endpoints. And so for this one, I think we were trying to get, what was it, balance? I was trying to say, what his most recent token. So I was actually looking at transfers. So I could come over here and be like, oh, let's look at transfers, grab this. And if it doesn't, it's not able to fix it. Oh, it already fixed it. So it's adding in the proper Zod configuration to be able to put in a start time and an end time for the token API, which is really exactly what we need. So what happens is the token API goes through some changes. It's definitely very, it's a new product. And so they probably have added this recently, and I just haven't gone through and added it yet. So let's see if that fixes it. While that's doing that, we can also take a look at what else. If we go to that repo and we go to the token API one, and then we go to the token API Scaffold-ETH. So if you don't want to use an AI agent and you just want to use like a web application, this is like a full-blown SDK as well for the token API. This one should be up and running and no problems, and all these hooks should work. So you can see there's hooks for all of the different endpoints and the NFT endpoints as well. There's also some UI components, and it's all got types and stuff like that. And it also walks you through the installation and how to set up the environment variables. Okay, so let's see if that worked. Perfect. Okay, so it looks like it is going. So it added it in the proper hook there. For some reason there's some other age parameter that it added as well, which I don't know what that is, but let's see. Oh, so I guess it's like creating, okay, it should be good now actually. Oh, now it wants to do a helper function. AI is just so helpful. I'm not even looking at really what
So
it's
much
doing.
good quality.
Yeah, I always like to keep an eye on it because sometimes it tries to do some really wonky stuff, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna create documentation for you, and I'm like, okay, that's really nice of you because I don't like writing documentation, but I really don't want you to. Just let me like test it. Okay, it's almost done. Let me test the changes. I guess it's just going through and reading it one more time. What I'll do is I'll just restart it real quick, just to make sure.
That's even a good example, because if someone wants to add a new capability or do a pull request, they could just vibe code that. Even if you're not a super duper Web3 senior engineer, you can ask Cloud 4 or GPT-5 that is coming up this summer, and they would be able to code something decent like that, right?
For sure, yeah. Okay, it's up and running now. All right, let's see. I mean, hey, vibe coding is legit. Like anybody can build. Like it's crazy. You can just like you could create a startup right now if you want to vibe code something. No problem. You just have to have the idea. You know, I mean, maybe it's not going to be perfect, but to get like an MVP or like a proof of concept now, man, it's not going to be that long until like one guy has just like made $1 billion on something with vibe coding. No problem.
Eventually, a zero guys.
Yeah, exactly.
AI.
One day it's just going to be like an AI agent. Just so okay, let me reconnect. Why did it do that? Okay, connect wallet, burner wallet. Okay, go to chat. That's so annoying. I need to fix that. Maybe I'll fix it right now. If this works, maybe it works. We have like 30 minutes, right? We're good.
Yeah, we can send you all of our good vibes, and then you channel that through Cursor, and fix that bug.
I wish my machine was running faster. That's what I wish, because my computer is running ridiculously slow. I feel like there's something running in the background or something that's like, I don't know what it is, but I don't really want to troubleshoot it live right now. Okay, let me disconnect just to make sure and reconnect to my burner wallet and sign. This way it knows that I'm authenticated. Okay, there we go. What is the most recent 5 tokens that Vitalik.eth has received on base? Come on. Let's see if it works. Yeah, okay. So while that's doing that, let's come over here and just, so you can see here, it tried to start my dev server. I'm just going to say skip because I already did that over here with yarn start. Let's see if it worked. Generating, come on, so slow. Okay, what did it tells us exactly what we did. It modified the start time, end time, added the Zod configuration. Cool, awesome. Now let's come over here. Wow, it's still slow. So it is very slow. It must be my machine, but it looks like it's going to work. While that's doing that, maybe I just have it try to fix that other thing. Oh, there it goes. Okay, tool call, there it goes. So base, Vitalik.eth, error fetching transfers. Damn it! I've entered ID base, the status 500. Man, oh, maybe it doesn't support the ENS resolution. Let's try the Vitalik address as well. So ideally, you would create some kind of like rule in here is like always go out and find the ENS resolution by querying like the subgraph for ENS or something like that. Give me the most recent tokens for here on base mainnet. Let's try it again.
They are doing some good proposals for that on ENSV too. I do reading the blog post and all. Soon we might have some deals about that.
Yeah, I mean, Simone is now at ENS, by the way. So there it goes. Wait, I encountered an error. Oh, okay. Let's give it this. Let's just see if it fixes it. We are fixing my example. I should have just done normal token API. Fix this, please. There we go. I don't know what's going on. If I look,
we're getting a sense of how you fix the bugs with AI now, which is kind of cool. Like if you are a pro and you're fixing the bugs like this, you can learn how you do, you know?
That's true, yeah. And that's mainly because I'm just very reliant on AI now, but I can see the issue. Thank you. I'm so glad you can, because I have no idea what's going on right now. Let's see. So API token proxy path. Yeah, my guess is that either some kind of endpoint changed or something. This might be a good time where you'd be like, hey, can you just double check this too? Make sure you are looking at this when you're fixing it. I always like to just give it a little extra context because like we don't want it to like go off the rails and be using like an old version of the token API or something. There it goes. So maybe that helped. The endpoint should be transfers EVM with the address as a query parameter, not in the URL path. Okay, that's really weird. I don't know why it would be so far off, but okay. I think before it was transfers EVM with the address as a query parameter as well. So I don't know. Either way, we're going to get this working. We got 20 minutes. Well, we have 10 minutes because we're going to do Q&A, but let's see.
We can use more time. If this spacing is going to close in 20 minutes.
Okay. Let's try again. I'm not going to restart the dev server. Let's see if I just disconnect, hard refresh, and then reconnect. Oh, let me reconnect once it refreshes. Okay. It would be better if my computer was not acting up, but okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to disconnect again, connect, just to make sure we don't have any auth issues. Sign the message. Okay, please, let's grab his address. Please work. I swear this was just working, but what are the most recent transfers for this address on base mainnet? Okay. So, let's hope it fixes it. We can also come in here and like take a look at what it did. Utils, chat, agent kit, action provider. So you can see here I wanted to make changes to the token API. We can come in here and see what the diff is. So it added some like stuff about start time, end time, right? Which was that. But then what else did it do? It made a change. This is the Zod configuration, which is like the schema, right? And then it modified the utilities as well, which is the hook. So if we go up here to the top, this is kind of like what a hook would be, but in the realm of like AI agents, we're just using types, and it's like a utility. So this is where we pass in the parameters. Okay, let's see if it worked. Yeah.
Are you using any cursor rules for giving context about the APIs and all?
Yeah. Sometimes I am. I think on this one I'm not actually, not in this repo. I should add that. I should do that. So what you would probably do is create inside of this graph folder, like examples. So you'd say like new folder, call it .cursor. Then you would do new folder, call it rules. And then you would do new file, and you would be like SE2 -agent.mdc or something like that, or maybe the graph dash SE2 agent, and you would be like, all right, well, like always go here, and let's see here, always go to the docs, always go to token API, and always go to EVM endpoints, and like something like this, like documentation. Always check here for how to interact with the API. And then boom. And then you would put this as like this. Am I doing that right? I don't think I'm doing that right. What is it? Squares, docs, like that.
Yeah.
You tell I let UI or AI do all my docs now. Okay, let's see why this didn't work though. Show tools. Channel can transfer queries is too broad. I did specify an address. Fetch from to address, or this is not a transfer though. Wow, this is weird. This was working before, but it thinks it's too broad. So let's tell it. Let's ask it again one more time. Let's be like, hey, like now I am getting this. I don't always know where the transfer is coming from. Maybe it's just balances if there's only one address. See if we can fix it. So it's basically saying like, well, in order to get the transfers, you need to know who it's to and who it's from, which is kind of silly. I just want to know like all the transfers for that address could be like the ones he sent and the ones he's getting. So now I'm trying to like kind of like steer the AI to maybe properly like formulate. So this is good. We're making progress at least. First we were having auth issues, then we're having issues with the API. Now the API is just like too broad of a term, so it couldn't kind of like narrow that down. So let's see what it does. The address role parameter is required but wasn't provided. Since you want to see all the transfers for an address, which is a common use case, let me fix it by making address role parameter optional and defaulting to receiver. Okay, there we go. So I guess there's some kind of parameter in the API for like receiver versus sender, and we have to set a default, right? So it's already optional. So now it's going to say, okay, well, maybe we can do it as, there it is, default. So now there's a default behavior. Let's try it one more time. Let's see if it works. I'm just going to try to not reload. Let's just see if it works. I feel like we're getting somewhere. It's going to work. I feel the good vibes. Come on, send them my way.
Gotta have hope.
It wouldn't be vibe coding if I wasn't helpless from AI right now.
You're rage coding. That's wonderful.
Rage coding. I do that sometimes. I definitely have been. I've been known to cuss at the AI. It's like not good.
The spending all credit cards.
Oh my god, it's still not working. Oh man, server error. Now that's interesting. Let's come over here. Now we're seeing there's an issue here. So now I'm looking in the console and there's some kind of like 500 error. So I'm going to give it this context as well. Fix this. I'm not even going to tell it. I'm just like, dude, fix it. Let's see if it does it. I think the URL does that. I chose the worst project to teach you guys, but I guess it's a good one for learning to vibe code.
Yeah, it's all of the best techniques.
Like, yeah, like what I would probably do is I would just sit here like last night or earlier today, and I would have just like gone through and just been like, hey, here are all the new endpoints, make sure they work with my project. And then I would just like assume it was good and it probably would have been fine. But I didn't do that. So my bad. What is this? Okay.
Well, the AI is trying to put a domain for your API.
Okay, let's see here. Interesting. Let's go to the quick start documentation, and let's just make sure. Let's just try to be very like ignorant here. Be like, do I need to add the domain? Check the docs. Okay, let's see what it's going to come up with. But it should be able to like grab this and figure out that here the token API URL, and I think it's already set actually. I think it's set inside of where is it at? API token proxy route. Next public graph API URL. Yeah, so it's here. Otherwise, it's token API, the graph.com. Yeah, so it's already set actually. So yeah, so now it's thing like, oh, it's already set. But why is it trying to fix it if it's okay? Let's try one more time. That's really strange. Okay, one more time. One more time. Maybe we can ask some questions to if people want to do that while I'm trying to fix it.
You mean
Or
some people cursor for vibe coding because we use read stuff in the last meetings here. So maybe you want to give your takes about cursor.
Sure. Yeah. If you have a question, just drop it or come off mute. But otherwise, yeah, some tips for cursor. Well, first of all, you can go to like settings, cursor settings, and close the chat agent. And if you go to, they keep moving stuff around, but if you go to, where is it at? Models. This is where you can enable all the different models that you want to use. So by default, they're not all enabled. I really like Claude 4 and I really like Gemini 2.5 Pro experimental. So I tend to use those a lot. Go to tools and integrations and you can connect your MCP servers. So I use a few different ones. I use MCP PinX, which is the token API. I use sometimes I use Context 7 if I like don't want to like go and find the docs page. It has like a lot of docs archived in its MCP server, which is really useful. I can also use Supabase a lot, which is like a Web 2 database SaaS platform. And then I also use the Subgraph MCP, which is if you want to query subgraphs directly from your server. All you need to do is click New, and then you can add in the MCP server configuration here. It's really easy, just a little JSON object. You can also add rules, like if you want to do custom rules like that are like further like wide of like every time you use cursor. I don't really use those. I usually tend to just put my rules in the MDC files like I showed you earlier. And what else? I'm trying to think what else is worth showing. Can't believe this is not working. Okay, anyways. Wow. 500 errors again. Let's just see if we can fix these real quick. So open up the chat. Still errors. Okay, while that's doing that, so what else? Yeah, so I already mentioned like the MDC files. So if you have a MDC file in here, make sure it's set to always if you want it just to always run. And then it will basically always check that and add that as context to like whatever you're searching for. So yeah, what else? Anything else you can think of that's good to show off for cursor?
That's great. Maybe you want to highlight the capabilities that we get by inheriting the graph MCP.
The subgraph MCP?
Yeah, the token API endpoints that you can call via API normally, and the capabilities that you get when you integrate the MCP.
Yeah. So I guess like, how do I put this? So there, you can query the token API over an MCP server, or you can query it over just a standard API. For an agent perspective, I think agents, it's easier to build them to just use like an API. But you can also like connect to an MCP server. The MCP server is a little more, it's a little more optimal. It's a little faster, a little bit easier for AI to work with. I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining it probably well enough. But the API is, I guess it's what you're used to, but for like AI agents and for like your IDE, MCP is more ideal. But if you want to build like a web application, I think API is easier to work with. Is that fair explanation?
That's nice. Because I remember you guys were discussing with Coinbase Agent Kit for integrating the APIs directly, and now you guys have the MCP integration. I don't know how close you followed, but it's nice to see that you have both options, right? I haven't tried the MCP myself. This is a genuine question for mine. What are the cool stuff that you can do the MCP? I'm going to try your suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, so for the subgraph MCP, it's like super awesome because it's built by Sahara, which she's like really brilliant, and she built like a really good implementation where it's just you can query like all the subgraphs pretty much by hitting the MCP server, and it can like figure out exactly which one to use, like which one's the most popular based on curation, has the right data you need, the right schema. It automatically will like figure out how to like query it. So it's really good for like the subgraph. For the token API, I think for the agent perspective, it's easier just probably just to use like HTTP and have that look it up. But if you want to like query data from inside of your IDE, like Cursor or Incline or something like that, then there is the token API MCP server. So yeah, there's like options.
Nice.
I think it's really just up to you. Is this gonna work? Oh my gosh, it's gonna work! Woohoo! All right, guys. See, it worked. 9 minutes. There it goes. Just took a little. All that for monkey token. You got some monkey token. Monkey token, 1.7 million monkey tokens. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I want some monkey token. And more monkey token. He got 2 different versions of monkey token? Or is it the same?
Now, baby monkey token.
Oh, it's the same. That's weird. So, they sent him 2 batches. So they airdropped him twice. So he got double monkey. He also got Buster. And he got Bat token. And more Bat token. So it's weird. It's doing some doubles, but could be. But you can see, so getting back all the information, transaction IDs, all the stuff's coming from the API. Cool, it worked. Oh my gosh. Let's ask another question since we got it working. What were the last 2 swap? What was the last? So what is the most popular token swap on Uniswap v3 today? I don't know. Let's see if that does that. Let's see if that can figure it out. But if it can fix, so what's cool is like if it's using the subgraph MCP, it's able to know exactly what the schema looks like. And then it can like come up with the schema and like request the using GraphQL using the subgraph MCP server. This case, it could be actually using the token API because there's also in the Uniswap endpoint in the token API, but oh, it worked. So here it goes. So Uniswap v3, blah, 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 blah. Reserve rights to WETH, whatever reserve rights is. I'm way out of the loop. Is that some kind of like Trump token or something? Okay, well, it's working. That's awesome. But let's look at the tool call and see what it did. Oh, it used the graph. It used the it didn't use the API. It uses a subgraph. See, so that's cool. So like, so this one was the token API here. This one was the subgraph. So really cool. It decided like, it was like, oh, I can get all that information from the subgraph MCP. Actually, can we see if it was the subgraph MCP specifically? Can't really see here. I could probably log it somehow to look and see, but yeah, query subgraph. So I think that if we look at the code base.
Yeah, the AI was too kind because I asked this about I asked you about this, and the AI just used the example just to answer my question, right? The AI is listening.
Yeah. Okay, so wow, I'm so glad we got it to work because I was stressing there that you guys were going to be like, wow, this guy's an idiot. Okay, so that's that's working. Okay, so we have like 5 minutes. Does anyone have questions? Otherwise, I was just gonna like YOLO like some one prompt.
There's a couple of good questions here in the chat. Dave is asking if you tried Taskmaster AI or some of these other recommended Cursor plugins. And we have a great question from BB to you about how the graph indexes the blockchain data for it to be carried off-chain.
Okay, so Taskmaster I've not tried. I like this cool idea of like chaining stuff together with AI. And like this new thing with like future thinking is like, I now realize that I need more than one agent working for me at a time. So I really like this multi-agent thing. And so that's interesting. I'll have to check that out. I will say that I've looked at a couple of things recently that is really cool. One is Google Agent to Agent, A2A. Looks really awesome. It's kind of like a competitor to MCP, but it's not quite a competitor because it's different. But it's this concept of like agents talking to each other and like coordinating orchestration agents. It's kind of like when Docker came out and then all of a sudden there was like Kubernetes. It's kind of like the framework for like what AI needs maybe potentially. I also looked at ANP, which is like a way to do payments. X402 as well is really cool. I've been looking at that stuff. How does the graph index blockchain data and makes it queryable off-chain? So there's two different ways that we talk about indexing with data on the graph. One is like subgraphs, which are on the decentralized network, which are indexers that are all running a stack, and they are using they're running a full node, and they deploy subgraphs on behalf of the developers to like index that data into SQL, and then they expose it with GraphQL. So it's all written in assembly script, which is like a subset of TypeScript, and you can like basically grab that stuff from the RPC server and store it inside of the subgraph. Then we have the token API, which is all done by Pinax, and so they run like a cluster. I think they run ClickHouse. I'm not 100% sure, and that's all stuff in like a major database. Then there is, what else am I thinking of? There's substreams, which you can stream data. That comes from Streaming Fast, which is another core developer where you can stream data from blocks. And they do that with what's called Firehose and substreams, which is a kind of like a Go implementation of streaming data. That was the blast.
Yeah. And I guess as you test it out, as you see the data coming, it gets more clear on how useful this is and how safe it is than just blindly trusting another RC provided. So,
okay, I'm gonna commit all those changes that I just fixed. Thank you guys for helping me with my pull request. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Quick question: if people want to reach out to you, ask questions, follow up, call to actions, and all, do you want to drop it in the chat? We're going to have a lot of people watching this recording later. If they want to learn more about vibe coding with you, learn more about the token API, how would they reach out?
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, so I think like the best way to get a hold of me is like going on like X. Crypto Mastery is my, Crypto Mastery _ someone has Crypto Mastery. They don't even really use it. So that's a good way to reach me. What else? I have a YouTube as well, which is also Crypto Mastery _. So I'll paste that, which is right here. And let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. I'll show both those off real quick. So the first one is Crypto Mastery _ and you'll find me there. And then the other one is youtube.com/Crypto Mastery. Oh, that is not it. So it's actually at, sorry, I just pasted the wrong one. It's at Crypto Mastery _ let me paste that one in real quick just so you guys have it. That's the correct one. So
it's so popular that people are trying to impersonate you, right?
Well, there's that other guy, which I don't know exactly. Like if you go to Crypto Mastery, like who is it? It's the same guy, Crypto Master. Like he's from Russia, I think. Yeah, this guy. So he's also this guy on YouTube. So one day we're gonna meet and I'll be like, dude, we should merge together or something. I don't know.
Buy him out. No, that's wonderful. Thank you a lot, Kevin. Well, if you want to learn more about the graph and API and CP7, we're probably going to have this content again in the server, or in the cities. So stick along. Let's keep jamming. Kevin, thank you a lot for coming, bro. It was a great session. let's keep general on the possible use cases, talking about the MCP and all, and keep in touch. Thank
Good seeing you guys. Yeah, thanks everyone for taking the time. And if you guys need anything, just shout out.
Before.